Force on Force features the largest and strongest outdoor military organization in the country. These are the men and women who make it possible to enjoy the freedom to hunt and fish. It is with great pride that we bring you Force on Force podcast, coming to you from the Force on Force Talk.
Hey, welcome to the Force on Force podcast. We're having a lot of fun with this format this year. We do it from the Force on Force Talk. Every one of our TV shows starting the Force on Force Talk. And I'm your host, Shawn Dalrymple, and we're doing this one from our mobile talk. I'm actually in New Orleans this week on a little family trip. And what's kind of cool about this, I'm actually going to go later today and visit the World War II Museum here in New Orleans. So always something cool with our military traditions and history. We've got a lot of stuff going on. This week, we'll air on the Sportsman Channel the brand new show, ArmyHogHunters Force on Force. So we talked about that in our last podcast, with Tim, Jared, and Patrick, and a lot of fun. But this week, we're super excited to bring on one of our longtime partners at Wiley X and Myles Freeman, and really what his dad started Wiley X, and kind of want to talk about, man, they have such a long-standing tradition with what they do with the military. We're going to talk about that. I still have my original pair of sunglasses that I was issued in 2003 going into Iraq. So, Myles, I just want to kind of let you introduce yourself and your family and your brother and your dad and everything you guys do. So go ahead, Myles.
Hey, Shawn, first of all, thanks for your service, and thanks so much for having me on. Yeah, listen, Wiley X has a very storied history. We opened our doors in 1987, so roughly 37 years ago. My dad, whose name was also Myles, saw a classified ad in a newspaper about a very small eyewear company operating out of South San Francisco. He decided to go check it out, and they were actually operating out of the basement of a real estate office, if you can believe that. The name of the company at the time was Protective Optics. They weren't generating much revenue at the time, but he said, immediately he could see the opportunity after having reviewed, a few of their invoices. Our dad was kind of a mathematical genius, to be honest with you, pencil to paper kind of guy. He had a really great street sense, being born in Brooklyn and raised in New Jersey. Anyway, we lost our dad a few years ago, but he proudly served in the Army and remembered how poor, the goggles performed that were issued to him at the time. And he told my brother and I that he looked at this as an opportunity to maybe manufacture something better for the armed forces. Protective Optics was already, selling some shooting glasses in an aviator style, and the rest, as you say, is history. As far as, values and so forth, my dad was always big on ethics and morals. And, he made sure that we always operated with integrity and, being transparent and honest with our customers, never burn any bridges. He was a good man. So
you're talking about quality eyewear from the military, and your dad kind of saw the need for that. And I think that was a huge piece that I think is kind of cool that you talk about, because I was kind of talking about this with the team there at Wiley X, and kind of when I see big thing when you talk to military people, we talk about military grade equipment, and it's almost a joke for us sometimes when we use that term, right? Because we all know it's built by the lowest bidders a lot of times. And so to find a company that really takes that to heart and to build a quality product is something that's very important, because when you get a quality product, and I think you saw that with what your dad kind of did, to want to take something to build something that was quality for eyewear protective for the military out there. I think that was so important and that's where you kind of that's why I say I still have my same pair of glasses from 2003, because when I talk about that, they're still functioning. I mean, we're talking, 21 years later, they're still functioning pair of glasses, and the rubber, all that stuff, everything is still a functioning component. And a lot of times we don't find that in things that we get a lot of times and issued to us. And I think that's kind of gets to that. He wanted to build a quality product, if from that perspective. And so I think that's just really a testament to his dedication from his time in service to what he wanted to do.
Yeah, listen, I don't know if the product lasting that long is a good thing or a bad thing, because we want to sell as much of it as we can, but we really take great pride in building a product that lasts for years. And, we're known, we've got a great reputation for, the durability of our product and how we separate ourselves from the pack. So we can get into that a little bit if you'd like.
Well, we will in a little bit. I know I'm sure that your dad and you guys early on, you guys had some challenges along the way. What were some of those challenges, out the, building this to the brand we kind of know that it is today? I mean, breaking into seeing, was it a thought, could we make a company that focused on military protective eyewear? Was it ever a thought that was just going to be the market, or was it something that you had to kind of take a gamble on, from that perspective?
Yeah, it's a great question. Look, we knew we had to branch out, that we couldn't put all our eggs in one basket. There was a time when I remember my brother and I sitting in my office discussing next steps, how we were going to separate ourselves from the pack, quite frankly. At first, we had to change our name, as Protective Optics wasn't going to cut it. Then a few years later, when sales sort of leveled off, I would have to say we had an epiphany where we decided we needed to do something that no other eyewear company had done. So we decided to become the first brand whose entire line would exceed occupational safety standards. And I mean from top to bottom. And although, it was scary at first, I'm glad we did it. Imagine trying to make safety cool and selling it into the optical market, performance-related stores, extreme sports stores, outdoor stores, you name it. Now we only lean into being a veteran-founded, patriotic, and family-owned business. Let's face it, there aren't many of us left, right? So
right.
We're proud of who we are.
Yeah, I think that's kind of important, because I think that's, when you guys kind of branched off into being I just saw a video today you guys did. It's talking about just didn't have to be the same old boring safety glasses out there, and you guys branched off into that. And I think that's really important. I got a story that we can kind of share. I mean, I know I totally feel, whatever I'm doing, from whether it's fishing or hunting to shooting or to riding my motorcycle or just out doing whatever, I can wear the same pair of sunglasses all the time. And those challenges that you guys kind of went through to get to that level, I think is kind of important up front. And it kind of has defined you guys throughout the years of doing that. I know a camera guy that can no longer film because he was wearing a competitor's sunglasses on a boat, and he took a tungsten weight to the lens. And so that, if you guys have seen early on and see that there was a need for that, to make that, diversification, to not just be inequality, for eyewear, just, in the safety, because that's why I tell you, you can pick up any pair of WileyX sunglasses and it meets that ANSI safety standard out there. And so that's what makes you guys so special about it. I don't have to go grab a different pair of sunglasses to mow the grass. I just use my same ones that I use all the time. And I think that's really a testament to what you guys kind of do for that.
I need to hire you and put you on the road. That's exactly who we are. When we're, faced with an optical dealer, usually our foot in the door is the fact that, we cover kind of the whole gamut of protection, right? You can wear it on the job, off the job, and you don't want to take your eyes for granted because you only have one set. So that's kind of our, how we position ourselves.
Well, not just that. I'll tell you this. I mean, you guys are coming out with some really cool, what I call modern lifestyle. I mean, I got 17-year-old kids. I mean, what they're going to call the term they're using, the fit right now, and so with the new founders and the recons and those guys, they're you got your safety standard taken and you're using them. But you can same sunglasses like that. I can wear to the Kentucky Derby also, and so that's they look good wherever you go. And I think that's a key component from what you guys kind of do.
Yes, we finally made safety cool.
So that it's funny that you get trying to get over there and get that kind of going. And so I can see that being a challenge early on, and how do you mesh those two together? And now it's taken so long because companies have not done that. They've all worried about, we want to be when it looks good or, whatever. And they haven't kind of worried about safety. And so you guys combine it all together without sacrificing a price point. I think that's kind of the best thing in the world from that. So
absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it's one of the questions I love when faced in a buying situation. If we're talking to a chain and the buyer and they're happy with their lineup currently, what is special about Wiley X? Well, that opens up the floodgates to tell them that we're the only premium sunglass manufacturer in the world that I know of. His entire line exceeds the ANSI rated. So that's a real feather in our cap. And to your point, we're more affordable. So
Right.
why aren't the other brands doing that? There's some great brands out there. I have nothing bad to say about them, but if you're going to walk the walk, talk the talk.
Right. Right. So I know we've partnered with you guys quite some time, and if you want to know about more about our relationship with WileyX, you can go to the WileyX website and go in their partners tab, and you can read about the Army Bass Angler partnership. But you guys do a lot with veteran organizations throughout. I mean, what you guys do with us to allow us to work with some of our nonprofits is remarkable. But what are just some of the initiatives you guys and in general throughout the that area that you guys do? Because I say this all the time, we do a lot of great stuff, but we can't do it for everybody. It takes all of us to do a lot because there's a lot of veterans out there. So I know that's kind of near and dear to the company's heart.
Yeah, listen, our connection to military and veterans, I feel is deep. It started with my dad, who served in the Army back in the early 60s, and the loyalty from those who served and who have seen firsthand how our product performs. Many of them move on and become first responders, and they continue to wear our product on and off the job. And in addition, many of these folks love to hunt and fish, right? So there's crossover there. But make no mistake about it, this company was founded on manufacturing product for those who protect our freedoms, and we'll never take that for granted. As far as the charity work, it's been really rewarding. I'll be honest with you, Shawn. It started again, with Senior, and how he would almost anonymously donate to various veteran organizations, first responder, and various animal shelters on the other side of the spectrum. And the reason I know this is because I would receive his mail when he started to, he'd start when he was ill and he was only able to come in part-time. And by the way, he worked until he died, basically, till, like 78, 79, I want to say. But I would receive these letters, I'll open them up, and it would be a thank you from Wounded Warrior, a thank you from Tony Larissa's Animal Rescue Foundation for your donations, 25,000, 50,000. And I'd approach my dad and say, hey, why don't you let us know that you're doing this? I think it's a fascinating story, and people would love to know how you give back. And he's just always a very humble guy, No, listen, it's something I like to do with your mother, and forget about it. My dad had a New York accent, and he was a great storyteller. But that's kind of how he dealt with stuff, right? But this is my brother and I carrying on his legacy. There's a long list of charities that are doing some incredible things for the veteran and first responder communities. Love what you guys do. We're a Founder Circle sponsor for the new Medal of Honor Museum being built out in Arlington. I'm sure you've heard of that. Save the Brave, which I mentioned, Operation Surf, Carry the Load are some of the others we partnered with. All these great charities do amazing things for veterans suffering from PTSD. And we also made it a point to get our employees involved, which has been so good to see. We just had a big group out at a local food shelter, and they can take paid time off to volunteer their time for any good cause. But this has brought us all together, as you can imagine, which has been just amazing to see.
I know it's pretty cool. You guys do a big deal with us with Patriot Sporting Challenge, which benefits Folds of Honor, and which is so cool to see what all that does with Folds of Honor.
Folds of Honor, yeah. Forgot to mention those.
Yeah, and so, but just a couple weeks ago, I was out at the new office there and manufacturing facilities there in Frisco. And what was really cool, you mentioned about what you guys are doing with the Medal of Honor museum that's being built out. But you guys named all the rooms at the office there. They're all named after Medal of Honor recipients. So as you walk around there, it kind of resonates throughout the building there. And so you guys, it kind of drives home that point that you said that you take it to heart to make sure the employees know that.
Yeah, absolutely. We had a recent Medal of Honor event out at our facility, and we had various Medal of Honor recipients there, and we wanted to surprise them. You can always call the big boardroom the North Boardroom, or the Yellow Boardroom, or Yellow Conference Room, and Pink Lab, or whatever you want to call it. But we decided, in honor of these heroes who protect our freedoms and have made the ultimate sacrifice, right, putting their lives on the line, name these particular areas after them. And so we had an unveiling, if you will, where we had the placards, which were mounted outside each space, covered, and we unveiled them. And I'll tell you what, there wasn't a dry eye in the house. It was pretty emotional and pretty cool to see. So those guys deserve our full attention always, because wouldn't be able to, run in a free society if it weren't for them, right? So
I know that I've got to listen to one of the Medal of Honor recipients before, and it's really, really cool to get to listen to their story. And that's what I was actually telling Erica there when she was walking us around. I asked her, most people don't know, like the story from Forrest Gump is actually a real Medal of Honor story. His name is Sammy Davis. That story is based off of, and I got to I was a captain and got to listen to him come and tell the story in person, and he passed the Medal of Honor around the room, and it's just such a humbling experience to listen and be able to hold that Medal of Honor, because he tells the story and he says, I'm going to pass this Medal of Honor around the room because it doesn't belong to me, it belongs to everybody. And
Yeah.
it just
Listen, there, out of 40 million service members, less than 4,000 in the history of our company, our country, 40 million service members, less than 4,000 have received that accolade. It's pretty special, right? And I believe there's only 62 that are alive today. So, just to be in their presence and to handle, the medal, I've touched one or two myself, and it gives you chills like nothing you've ever experienced.
I know, so that's what it was special walking through, seeing that, what you guys kind of have there for that. But more than that, you guys have a pretty awesome test facility there at the facilities there in Frisco. One that I think it should be the standard everywhere, but I don't think it is. I mean, you guys do phenomenal testing on your eyewear and what you guys have built there in Frisco, and that's what makes your glasses kind of stand out from not just from what you guys do from being a veteran-owned company to how you guys get back to the veterans, but the testing you guys go through rigorously at that facility there. It's just kind of amazing. It's pretty special to see that facility there and the testing goes on behind it.
Yeah. Were you able to come in and go through the impact testing where we fire, jagged projectiles that's like 750 feet per second? Were you able to, see some of that?
We were. It was kind of fun. It was fun, and we got to see some of that. And I had my service dog with me. He couldn't figure out because there's all these heads in there, and they're coming off the table, and he was trying to figure out where the rest of the bodies were in there. And we got to see some of the testing and the fire the projectile, and then the really cool one was where they shoot the I saw where they actually took my Wiley X's off my head, where they shoot the laser through the back of the head
Right.
to show how they're supposed to, the laser's supposed to align coming out the other side. And so it was really cool to see that whole process piece of it. So all that testing in there is really, really cool. And it just goes to show how committed to you guys are to produce not just a safety glass, but also a quality sunglass where your eyes are not hurting in those. I know that kind of, is what you guys are kind of committed. So I would say, if you had to say what's been the greatest, to me, I have an opinion. I think one of the biggest advances you guys had in recent years, would be the captivated lens. That to me it's been what you guys have done. And here's my whole take on it, because I tell people all the time from a fishing perspective, I go to the lake all the time, and I constantly have to take my sunglasses off after the sun gets up to see what color the water is, because I actually think the water is clearer than it is, because those lenses work so well. And I don't feel like I'm looking through, dimmed darkness, because the greens look green, the reds look red, and cutting out all those harmful UVs. Is that probably been you guys' greatest technological advance in recent years, that lens? Because it just seems like to me that's just such an awesome lens and puts you guys head and shoulders above everybody else.
No, thank you for mentioning that. Yeah, our Captivate polarized technology it's been a game changer, to be honest with you. I mean, there's real science behind it. A lot of people don't realize there's confusing light waves in the color spectrum, blue light waves that don't allow you to really differentiate between yellow and green. It looks somewhat the same, and the orange and reds and so forth. What this does is it really cuts out those confusing light waves, allowing you for a more vibrant experience. And the glare reducing qualities are bar none, the best in the industry. So you're right. It's probably our biggest technology advance or introduction to date. And we're working on some cool things behind the scenes as well. Also, our removable facial cavity seal is just ideal for people that suffer from dry eye syndrome, that work in dusty environments or with flying particles. That facial cavity seal seals to your eye orbits and really allows for a more comfortable viewing experience, but also protects you from all the elements, right? And then to your point, when you have a polarized lens, our Captivate polarized lens inside that frame, and you have those, that facial cavity seal adhering to your eye orbits, it doesn't allow the peripheral light to get in, and therefore you're not doing this. You see a lot of people out there on their boats and their hats, and they're trying to see fish because of all the peripheral light. And that climate control series, we call it, the facial cavity seal, really sort of shelters you from that peripheral light. So yeah, really, really, that's been an amazing series for us for many years now, and now Captivate is kind of taking us to a new level.
Yeah, I think that's where you guys kind of took that from you innovated to that, to want to be, from the top, military eyewear protective, to want to be one of the top, in the outdoor from a fishing perspective. We do a lot of shows for you guys, and you're starting to see more and more people come in and wanting to know like what makes it different than everybody else, and that's to be able to tell them about that lens and how much it kind of separates. And we're always like, put them on, try them on, and they're always amazed because they're just expecting everything to be dark, because that's what most everybody else's polarized lenses do, and they put them on, they're like, oh wow, it's like I'm looking in HD, but
yeah, that's true. It really is.
And so you kind of do that. And then they have that safety to go with it. So, you're not sacrificing any of that stuff to go. I know you guys are, you got a lot, we talked a little bit about what you've done, to innovate with the lenses and all that stuff. You guys have stuff that you worked on with new styles in the future. We got talk about some of the founder sunglasses and the Recons and all that have just kind of come out. That's been a cool deal for you guys, hasn't it?
It has. The founder is named after my father, in honor of him, and it's currently our top seller, believe it or not. But we're getting into, fusing more materials together.
Right.
Where you inject rubber through, plastic, and then you've got metal connected to it, wrapped around, so it looks kind of gnarly and and cool. So you're going to see a lot of that from Wiley X in the future. And we're also, everybody's working on technology that, allows, lenses to change from light to dark quicker, right? And everybody's racing to bring that to market. It's out there, but in only certain platforms, and it's not real great at this time, to be honest with you. So, we'll see what happens down the road.
Well, I know you guys produce such a great eyewear, and that's been from the safety to everything. And you guys are now located in Frisco, Texas. I know one of the big things is in the future you guys are going to have a pro shop that'll open up out there, and I know that's going to be kind of exciting when you guys open that pro shop out there to kind of bring it all kind of the final phase of that operation movement when that takes place. And that'll be kind of cool to see all that. I know that it was just cool seeing the facilities out there last a couple weeks ago. And when you guys, do you have a time frame? I know they talked about sometime next year, I believe is what they said when I was out there.
Yeah, keep your fingers crossed. We kind of underestimated, the cost of moving from Northern California to here, and then we moved about, I want to say 30 plus employees, and we're very generous in doing that. And the cost of steel went through the roof after COVID, and all the budget just blew up, right? So we had to put it on the back burner. But yeah, the goal is to try to get it done by the start of next year. I've already seen the architectural drawings and the concept. It's really beautiful. It's going to be great. It'll allow for locals to come in and learn a little bit more about the history of Wiley X, as we're discussing today, past technologies, or some of our oldest product that we've archived and kept, and to where we've come today, and future technologies that we're working on. It'll be a place for local retailers to come in and planogram their displays and learn, more about our technologies and things that we're working on, and just how to sell the product in general, right? And then first responders, we expect a big amount of them to come by, because you look at a Wiley X catalog and you've got a frame, and it allows for certain lens tints to be, to buy it with certain lens tints. But what this will allow is more customization. You'll be able to come in and pick whatever lens tint with whichever frame you want. There'll be a flat screen where you can pick an activity and what lens tint is ideal during certain climates and during different lighting conditions. and then where to go find that product within the store. You name it, we're going to have it. But we'll also advance, not coming out of the gates, but in the future, you'll also be able to get prescription on site, with tabletop edgers and things of that nature. So we're really, really excited about it. And we'll look to have a grand opening. We'll have you out for sure.
Oh, it'll be fun. I know you guys do so much. I mean, it's been great to have you guys as partners along the way. I think I enjoy having a quality product. And for us, we sell a lot of your sunglasses in our booths when we do expos now. And so I think it's an easy product to sell because we believe in it. It's always easier to sell something that you genuinely believe in and something that is top quality and something that because you guys are veteran owned and aligns with everything that we do and veteran founded and you guys give back to so many things. I just really appreciate Myles and all the things that you and your brother are carrying on your dad's legacy and just the company and the values that you instill in the company. And you really see it when you talk to all the employees there. And I think it's very important. We can hope we're doing a great job representing you guys out there and what the values mean. And that's important to us. And hey, we appreciate everything you do. If you guys want to know more about WileyX, go to WileyX.com. You can buy their sunglasses there. If you see us at a show, we'll have their sunglasses. We'll let you try them on. We'll hook you up. We'll sell you some while you're at an expo with us. We'll be actually down in McAllen, Texas, at the big hunting show that's down there, and also in Huntsville, Alabama, in the month of July. That we'll have WileyXs at both of those events there. So come see us if you want to know more about Army bass hunters, buck, hog, or duck hunting. Go to forceandforcetv.com, and don't forget next week. We're going to be on the Sportsman Channel with the very first season premiere of ArmyHogHunters Force on Force. And we appreciate you guys listening. Cool?
Thanks for listening to the Force on Force podcast. Join us next time as we dive into more topics from the Force on Force talk. For more information or to learn how to join the organization, visit our website at forceonforcetv.com.